going to have Bob Kahn, initiated as Shivaji, talk about the history of the center in Wilmington.
Hello. I've been a member of the Sivananda Yoga Center since about 1983, so I'm one of the older timers, but I know there are many here who are much older in the duration of the Yoga Center. We started, as you know, this is our 30th anniversary, so in 1965 the Yoga Center was conceived, and there was a group of 4 families, including Bharat and Rupal, and they started the center. At that time, it was called the Hindu Center, and very shortly after that, in about less than a year, the group split, and Bharat's brother moved away, and 2 other families didn't want to do it the way Bharat wanted it, and so there was a conflict. And there was even an active attempt to stop the Yoga Center from operating, and Bharat said, "Over my dead body." And that's how it started. And Bharat did vow to keep it going, and he hosted a number of teachers in the next couple of years, especially Amrit Desai came and taught 10 workshops, and after that, Bharat started teaching in earnest. About in 1968 was a pivotal time because Bharat got a message to travel to study with Swami Vishnu-devananda in Canada. Swami Vishnu-devananda, as many of us know, was a major disciple of Swami Sivananda. And so he went for 2 weeks in Canada, and that became the start of a yearly ritual. So the family always went there from then on. And the teachings of Swami Sivananda began to enter the Yoga Center in earnest. And shortly after that, the center was renamed the Sivananda Yoga Center. Bharat was initiated in 1972. And after that, he began to initiate students. I'm one of the initiates. There's probably quite a few of you who have been initiated by Bharat. And of these many, many initiates, many of whom are not here, we have had an influence in this community. Many of us have become teachers and had an influence at the college level with senior citizens, with children in college. Paul even taught in Smyrna prison. And so we've reached out, and that has been the tenet of the Sivananda teachings, is to serve with love. And so many of our students have gone forward in that way. In the year that I joined, in 1983, Swami Vishnu-devananda came to the Yoga Center for the 2nd visit, and I found that very enlightening. He had a wonderful radiance, and all of us benefited from that visit. In 1984, Bharat's wife, Rupal, did pass over, and so then Bharat was left to do the center pretty much by herself. Rupal had been teaching since about 1972, maybe even earlier than that. In 1985, the center was remodeled. Many of us remember the old place with the partition down the middle in the narrow room that we were in, and the wooden floors and everything. Now we have a nice blue carpet. And another nice thing that was done at that time is that we made a 2nd apartment above the Yoga Center, which then allowed 2 rentals, which has kept our center pretty much self-sustaining. And that's been very good for us because we believe in mainly focusing on the serving. The center has pretty much stayed as it is since 1985. In 1992, we did go on TV. So Bharat and Mita have been on TV quite a bit. And those who, Channel 28 at 5:30 on Thursdays is the time to watch Bharat. It's very inspirational. As I said, our center is for service. There have never been any payments made to the people who serve there. All the money that comes in goes to passing out books and tapes and goes to charity. So the entire thrust of our center is as Swami Sivananda would have done it were he still alive today. We just serve and we meet together and praise God and a lot of good things. Okay.
Vacation spot. And he writes, are you bored with your normal vacations? Do you feel tired after your holidays? Do you overexcite your nerves during your holidays instead of finding peace and happiness? Swami Vishnu-devananda continues, then you need a different kind of vacation from the ordinary one. In a big holiday resort with plenty of alcoholic beverages and exciting unhealthy foods in the midst of people with excited nerves, drowned in music and dance, camouflaging their worries with mink and diamonds. It is time for you and your family to try a vacation at the yoga camp. Fletch and his family did do that. And they're here to tell you a little bit about it. They started at the Yoga Center early on, in the early 30 years. So here, we've always called him Fletch. His last name is Fletcher, but here's Fletch and his family to give you some idea of what yoga camp was like.
My daughter is very nervous, so she would like to speak first.
Actually,
Her name is Andrea.
Yeah. I shouldn't be nervous because I'm a teacher and I speak in front of groups all the time, but the reason I'm nervous is I didn't know I was on the program until I walked in just like 15 minutes ago. So I had nothing prepared. I just want to say a couple things. One is I have many fond memories of my early years with the Yoga Center, the wonderful dinners we used to have, and the times I spent hanging out with RJ and Mita. Although Mita doesn't even remember, we were quite young. And at the Yoga Center, it was really an incredible experience, and I feel as if I've really grown as a person because of my years with yoga.
Thinking back, it's been so many memories come flooding, and trying to remember what went on. Why was I at the Hindu Center? That time it was called the Hindu Center. I met Bharat, and it was at the time of confusion because he had trepidation, I think, about continuing and wanting to teach. But I sensed a resolve. I don't have to express it, but I knew he was going to do it. He was looking to me, I think, for guidance or assurance or something, and all I could offer him was my friendship. I was supposed to talk about the yoga camp, which I recommend to everybody. It's a discipline. You get up real early in the morning. The food was, at that time, it was not bad. It was edible. But you have to realize at that time it was more in the 60s, and we had a lot of, it was just after Woodstock. And my children discovered a pool that was off the property that was filled with naked people bathing. Swami Vishnu-devananda took these people in if they wanted to come in and join. And he just asked them, all you have to, you serve. You have to work in order to earn your daily bread. You serve. And then I expect you to be on roll call, and he gave them the discipline. A lot of them loved it and changed their life totally. My wife was signaling to me that I'm probably going too far. But I'll sum up by saying, Blessed Bharat, you've been a blessing to so many people. It's like a stone thrown into a small hole. The difference is that you don't know where it's going to go, who it's going to affect. One other thing I'd like to recognize, a dear friend of mine, Marty Hooper, who was also involved in this early period in going to the Balmain, the camp there. And I know a lot of the people here maybe have taken lessons from him. He taught, and maybe he still teaches, I don't know. But he's another fine man. I'm sorry my son isn't here. He'll be here later. And just namaste. Thank you.
I'd like to just put this in a little perspective in terms of time. If you all remember, the milestone of Woodstock was 1969. I did a little research. And we were involved in the yoga camp in approximately 69. And in 1970, there was a huge peace festival in which the Swami that he was going to, I think he actually did it. He had a helicopter. It was a very exciting time. He had a helicopter. This was 1970. And he was going to go all across the world with a message of peace. It was very exciting. I have plenty of pictures of him, and there was the fire walk. For the people who might not believe, I am basically a non-believer, by the way. But the people, my husband helped make the fire for the fire walkers. And they actually did walk. They had quite a lot of preparation. And then they actually walked through the fire. And I saw their feet later. There wasn't not one blister. Nothing was on their feet. But just in general, I thought it would be interesting for you to understand the time period was 69 and 70. And it was a very important period in our country, actually. So it was a wonderful time for us, and this has been a great experience for me because I had a chance to reminisce and think about times that I haven't really thought about too much recently, thinking about Bharat and Rupal and the time we spent in Canada together.
Dad.
Thank you. Guru Swami Vishnu-devananda Maharaj ki. What's happened to the power? Huh? Don't let me down, no. Guru Swami Vishnu-devananda Maharaj ki. Guru Swami Sivananda Maharaj ki. That's good. Sisters and brothers, thank you so much for coming here, because it is the 30th year is important. But let me just tell you what makes me click sometime. So I got into yoga. I do not think I got into yoga. I was dragged into yoga by this spirit. Now I know it is Swami Sivananda. And then one day I had this vision to see Swami Vishnu-devananda. So I told my wife, I said, Rupal, I have to go to Sivananda ashram. So she said, I'm not coming. I said, but I gotta go. So then she said, okay, I'm coming. So we went there. And after 2 weeks, the kids had a great time. Then coming back, she started crying. I said, what's happening? She said, I want to stay here. I said, I find so much love here. So I said, gee, is that right? She said, yeah. So, that was an eye-opener to me. I said, Swamiji hardly said anything to her. He just came and said, Mataji, how are you? She said, fine. And only thing he did was sitting there, half an hour to an hour meditating, and we were sitting there. Well, anyway, she was coming back and going home. She said, what? So I said, how much love you experienced from me? She said, not much. I said, gee, only thing, something clicked to me, it is Swamiji must be doing this meditation, makes her feel love. Now that's the only thing. That was 28 years ago. So I decided to make sure that I meditate every day. And then I stopped calling. Somehow I said I don't want to call her Rupal anymore. And I started calling her Mummy. I said, gee. And that really worked. She has accepted me as a third child, and ever since things turn around. Now, what happened, I started meditating every day, half an hour, but it was so hard. After a couple of years, one day, she woke up. She opened, and I was still meditating then. She opened her eyes and she said, when you meditate, I experience so much love from you. I said, gee, is that right? She said, yeah. Now let me tell you one thing. In this world, if your wife is not experiencing any love from you, I would recommend you start meditating. After that, she never complained, ever, that I don't love her anymore. Now, let me just say something. There are three ways to motivate the people. One is a love, one is a carrot, and one is a stick. So, I used to give marriage seminar with Rupal. So, one time I asked this guy, I said, how many of you believe that love works when the child is not behaving? Nobody raised a hand. Then I said, how about a carrot? So 50% hand came up. Then I said, how about a stick? All hands were up. You see, when there is love in the home, you do not have to do anything. It just works. Now, why do you think I go to Sivananda Center? Swami Vishnu's love so much. Without that love, no one can do anything. Without the Guru, you will be miserable, you are lost. This is what Lord Buddha said, this is Lord Jesus said, and this is everybody says, but how many will listen? Nobody will listen. Now, I do not know how this money comes and how it goes. I never keep track, and it always comes because Guru is working. You don't have to do anything. Do you think anything I did today? Nothing. I just fool around and love him. That's all I do. And love of the Guru is always there. And when love of the Guru is there, you do not have to do anything. So my message is to you that we must start meditating and loving more. And I really thank you so much for coming tonight and participating. Also, spreading the good word of our Guru's teaching. Do you think I get anything by teaching? I get so much that sometimes I feel guilty. I say, oh my God, I sit there, I teach, but I get more from my students and from Swami Sivananda. We had a meeting and they said, well, we will make cooking for 80, 100 people. I said, my meditation guru says 130. We have 130 today. So Guru is always talking, and you have to listen to your inner heart. The Guru is always talking to you. This is true. And remember, sometimes you like to play too much. Playing is, material world is okay. But you must stop playing for a short time and get busy in studying the scriptures. Every day you must read scriptures. You must meditate. And you must participate in serving our Guru. So we bring all these books, we bring the books, we give them out, because it is very important, because so many people are not happy. And when message came to have the celebration of 30 years, this is the first celebration we did, because we don't believe in spending money. All money comes, it goes into right place. As you heard, nobody is paid, and we spend as little as we can. If we have to get something done, we say, you do it. So it's very important, but it is very important for getting together and working together. And please, I'm so happy that all my children, I call them children. I have my classes started 20 years ago. Their children are coming, and their children are in my yoga class. Now, my most favorite class is my children's yoga class. They are the best class in the whole world. Let me tell you. They listen every word you tell them. And it does not take much time, but they appreciate and see how they become a leader. I tell them to learn to speak up and listen to the Guru, and they listen, you see. So again, I like to say, everyone worked here, and they were all laughing and playing. Why? Because everyone is attached to the Swami Vishnu and Swami Sivananda, and they all linked to God. And then you do not have to do anything, do not have to worry. We have our bookstore open. Anybody wants to buy the book, take home, put the money there. If you want to put the money, it's fine. If you don't want to put the money, still is fine. And never anybody takes anything. They will all put some more. So, my message is, without Guru, no knowledge is possible. Without Guru, no love is possible. Without Guru, no spiritual knowledge is possible. And if there is a Guru, see Guruship in your wife. See Guruship in your husband. See Guruship in your children. But they are all little Gurus, all teaching you something. But when you are looking them in a very reverent way, you are learning and life becomes very full.
Yes? We're reaching the finale. Lisa Riblet will come on next for initiating name Malila to talk about Dear Rupal. Malila?
Hi. How many people here have had the privilege of knowing Rupal? About a third, perhaps. Since many of you don't, I'll give you a little bit of background. Rupal was born in India. She achieved a master's degree there in Hindi, a bachelor's degree in education. When she came here, she also was certified as a teacher by the University of Delaware. She spoke 3 languages and wrote 3 languages fluently. That would be Hindi, English, and Bharat's native language of Gujarati. She has 2 children. And in February of 1984, we celebrated her 50th birthday. And in March, a month later, she passed away in her sleep. For those of you who have met Rupal and other swamis, you'll know a certain look in their eye, that kind of look. She had that look. And she also had a laugh for us who remember her that was totally free and totally enlightened. And she didn't care where she was or who was around. that laugh could just send a feeling through the room that anyone who can still hear it with their heart can still hear the feeling. She told me once, I was complaining to her. I was complaining that she was always centered. Rupa was always centered, always clear. And I was asking her how she maintained that centeredness. And she said, I was not always clear. She says, I was not always like this. She says, one day I was cleaning yoga center and I was miserable. She says, I had to clean this and clean that and had to wash dishes. She didn't like to wash dishes. And she had to do all of her chores. She said, so she sat down in the yoga center by the altar and she prayed. And she said, oh, Swamiji, why am I so miserable? She said, I am doing all these things. I am eating my vegetarian meals and I am doing my spiritual work. And why am I feel miserable? And she said, she sat there and the answer came, don't wait to be loved. Just love. That was in 1978. And she said, since then, she said, I understand. Rupa sent me many letters. I'd like to pull just a couple sentences from these letters so you can get a feel for her. She was inclined to mix her English and her Gujarati and her Hindi all together. So you have to hear her in these letters. She said, it is a strange day. A day full of spiritual and inspiring openings. It is like having a private satsang with my inner being. She wrote that on October 29th, 1980. In May of 82, she wrote, love is the only present I can give you. To find someone whom you can love is God's grace in these modern times. She said, yesterdays never return. Tomorrows never come. Today is the only day you have. It's all you ever have. It is the best day. Says we should live every moment the best we can and let our heart be worthy of the Creator who created it. This last line was from a letter I received from Rupa not long before she passed on. And it really exemplifies what an enlightened creature she was and how ready she was. She wrote, I understand. I have got that sight to see God in life. I will stop here with a happy heart. Love, Rupa. Namaste.
Rupa was more than special. Any of us that have known her surely can relate to all the words that Malila has just said. Next we have Peter Freed, Hermanand, Brother Pete, some of us call him. He will come on to talk about Bharat. Hermanand?
Hello, everybody. Don't let this cool facade make you think that I'm not very nervous. First of all, I was going to say a few words about who Bharat is. Where is it? There we go. I love you. I have some technical information here with statistics, so to speak, about Bharat was born on June the 19th, 1931. Or is that 18? No, that's 1931. North of Bombay. In 1952, he came to the USA. In 1956, he went to work for DuPont. During that period, he earned 50 patents in textiles. A little overload here, my ears starting to ring. He's written, when in the process of writing 2 books. He is now retired. a consultant to DuPont, and he does seminars. Bharat says that originally DuPont was first in his life, and yoga was second. And now, yoga has become the first, and DuPont the second. In 1982, my life had reached a point where I was in a lot of pain and suffering, and my mother, who was a very wonderful person, some of you know her, she's a healer, dragged me, tricked me, whatever she did, brought me to yoga class at the Sivananda Yoga Center to try to help me out. She had gotten into meditation, and she kept saying, "You gotta meditate, you gotta meditate." I'm like, yeah. So she took me, and I said, "Okay, I'll go." And I went to the yoga center in 1982, and I sat down in front of Bharat, who's this funny little Indian guy, and I couldn't understand any of the words he was saying because he has this heavy accent. And he'd say some words with this different inflection, and that was kind of amusing. But what happened in the next year and since is that I was hearing again everything I know or knew or will remember. I was hearing the truth, and it was like I was remembering all over again. He would be explaining about life after life, vegetarianism, the spirit, and that's right. Because I had been trained in Catholic schools all my life. Nothing wrong with that, I'm sure, but I had always memorized it, taken it down for road, etc., etc. And I reached a point in my life where I didn't understand what I was doing on this planet. And so I was hearing what life really is and what the spirit is all about. And the transformation that was occurring and has occurred in me, some of you may know that, I assure you that I have changed a little bit. And in 1983, I was initiated, Paramanand, which means the highest bliss, which apparently when you get a name, is something you're working on. So that blissful thing is part of my journey. And I haven't seen Bharat that often lately, but there's a saying that once you're awakened, you can't go back to sleep. And every day, yoga is in my life. Every day, everything I look at, the whole experience is completely transformed because I have been in the presence of Bharat. He reawakened me. And I love him, and I love all the people that he brings around him, and I love his guru. And I thank God that I have been so blessed to have experienced that. And sometimes I know I don't deserve it, but I know that we all ultimately deserve it. But again, Bharat, happy birthday, and thank you so much for being here.
Stage, please. Rod. Yes. Distance. Literally, yoga means joining, and that's what we've done today. Join together in celebration. We can't think about the Yoga Center without thinking the fact that in the United States of America, we have the Constitution of the United States that has recognized that we have the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion. And without that, we would not all be here today celebrating the Yoga Center, Hinduism, practice of yoga in Wilmington, Delaware. So we're going to start by recognizing the flag, and Meeta Gajjar will be singing the national anthem. Meeta.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free? And the home of the brave.
I'm nobody a speaker or anything, but they say, you want to go speak? Here is half an hour. And I just tell them. And when I sit, Guru comes, whatever comes, I will tell them. And 3,000 to 4,000 people watching. Do you think I will get opportunity like that in India? No way. Only in this country. We have some money, you go on the TV and talk. So first thing I told them, I said, first we should have national anthem here, because this country provides that freedom and loves you, and I said, that freedom is wonderful. So we had the national anthem to show that this country is great. Of course, India, they have a lot of religious freedom. But here there is an opportunity for us to do all these things what we do. So thank you so much for coming, and enjoy, and may God bless you. Let me tell you one thing. This Sivananda Center is not a center, it's a family. So all the kids, come on down. Okay. Come. There you go. They are all my grandchildren. Children is already here. Come on. Okay.
Jaya Ganesha. Rod and the children will leave.
Everybody stand for Arti.
Vishnu-devananda, 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 Gajjar, Venu-gopala, Tvameva Mata, Chapita, Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha, Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya, Dravinam, Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva, Ayena Vacha Manasendriyarvaha, Buhudyata Manava Prakriter Svavanava, Karomi Adyat Sakalam Parasmai, Naharaya Mayati Samapam Hayami, Sarvam Dharma Bhavicharya Mamekam Sharanam Praja, Aham Tvam Sarva Bhavicho, Moksha Yushami Masucha.
Jai Bolo, Ananda Narayana Ki Jai. Jai Bolo, Swami Vishnu-devananda Maharaj Ki. Jai Bolo, Swami Sivananda Maharaj Ki. Jai Mother Shakti Ma Ki. Jai Father Ma Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees.
Okay, we will be... For dinner,
sit down first.
Your tables are marked by number. And we will just start the line going around. The servers will be there to tend